Casey Booth.
As usual, I am going to check our audio settings. We are all right.
You are getting a little bit of feedback or a pop or something. Maybe that's just me.
How about now? We good?
That whatever you did just there, I think helped out. So.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Sorry, folks. If you can't tell, we've had some technical difficulties the last couple of weeks, switching back and forth between the various platforms that we have to use.
Yes. Yes. My friend.
It's that time. Dude. It is.
Do you like my
there's a lot.
Do you like this?
I like it. You look like you're in a little cubby hole.
I am. I'm in my.
But yeah,
Chelsea.
I'm
thumb sucking cubby hole because of what
I understand. Well,
yeah,
for sure. But I mean, all the other bullshit with it aside, there is a World Cup about to happen, and that's always exciting. We can discuss the other socio-political aspects of it, and it is a horror. But at the end of the day, theoretically, the best players on the planet are about to gather and decide whose country is the best. And I think it's a fairly open tournament. I think there are several teams that can win it. We're definitely going to get to our predictions a bit later. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited. We're less than a week away. What are we, 4 days away from kicking off the World Cup with the majesty that surely will be Qatar versus Ecuador.
My friend, I tell you, it's going to be an interesting World Cup, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be one of those World Cups where you step back and you're like, okay, like you said, in the midst of all of the political stuff going on, all of the atrocities that happen in getting to this point, my hope is that the players out on the pitch are able to send the message that, you know what, here's the deal. In spite of all of this, we're still going to play for our countries. We're still going to, honor our countries. And you know what? The fact of the matter is that screw Qatar, we're here to play. And hopefully that is what comes through in all of these matches, man. So, best of luck to everybody except Qatar. And I hope that that everybody plays well, man. That's what I think.
Yeah. I'm with you. Do you want to get it out of the way now, man?
I think you need to hit that Chelsea till I die chant, because I'm dying over here, brother. It is a sad day in Mudville. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The last three Chelsea matches, there's a reoccurring theme, and I want to kind of get your opinion on it too. But let me just say this: I want to take it game by game, because I saw things in each game that did kind of give me a little bit of hope. But I'm scratching my head at a lot of this stuff, okay? And I'm going to need you to kind of help me figure this out. Because starting with that Arsenal match, right? It was a 0-1 loss. Arsenal had so many quality chances. And for that match, that was it's always a good thing to have chances. It's even a better thing to have quality chances, because quality chances will go in for a team like Arsenal. Our defense was shaky from the start. We did not look good. We kept We kept getting in the way of shots, which is great, but the fact that they had the space to get shots away was incredible. And where the hell was the defense on the score on the goal that Arsenal scored? It was a corner that touched nobody. There were a few deflections there, but where is somebody to step in front of it? Thiago Silva, where are you? Like where are you at this point? You do not let that go across the goal. I counted it, Aaron. There were three blue shirts right at the front post. This thing was not high. It came in low. What in the world were we thinking there? It looked like we were so out of sync that second half. And after that goal was made, Mindy made some great saves. But after that goal, it almost was as if they had scored 12 goals against us. Like you would think that you would think there was no way for us to come back, and it was just 1-0. It literally was 1-0 with, I think, they scored in the 66th minute. I'm like, anyway, that's the first game. Second game, Manchester City lose 2-0. Pooley had a huge miss early, just a huge miss, and I think that miss kind of set the tone. He came back, and there were a couple of times that he had some really good strikes. Keeper made wonderful saves against him. That set piece by Mahrez was wonderful. I'm not sure anybody could stop that short of Jordan Pickford in the World Cup. I mean, you know how he gets, right? You know how he gets whenever he gets. But that was a beautiful set piece. Second goal, it was just unfortunate. But the Man City player was at the right place at the right time. We cannot score. We simply cannot score. Hall is a young guy. I get it. He had an incredible point blank try, and he hit it right at the keeper. Havertz looks like a shell of himself. Couldn't hit the ball. Couldn't hit the bull in the ass with a banjo right now. He there's nothing, and it's so frustrating to see this. Once again, we were at the Etihad, and we were only down 2-0. And I get it. It's Man City. I get it. But we had chances that match, and we didn't take advantage of it. And then finally, the Newcastle match, it was almost as if you wrote the intro thinking like in my brain. Because for me, that match, Newcastle had some great pace, and we kept pace with them. But eventually you could see where the two teams separated. They just continued this incredible pace, this incredible just attacking, and it was as if we all of a sudden got back, got back on our heels. It was incredible dribbling in the middle to score this goal. It was almost as if they didn't even have to look at each other to score it. Dribbled in the middle. Another player came in and struck it immediately. Once again, I'm not sure how many keepers could stop that goal. It was so good. Here's the thread that I hate that ties all these three games together, and I want to get your opinion on it. When this team right now, when this team gets behind, they automatically look defeated. Like they look like, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. They look they look like a kid who, a kid on field day that got 12th place in the sprints. I mean, it's like they literally think that they're done. As soon as something bad happens, they're done. I have never, in these past three matches, I've not seen anyone short of Conor Gallagher, and at a few times I saw Mason Mount kind of talk to everybody trying to get him up. I've not seen anybody on the pitch, Thiago Silva, Dave, I haven't seen anybody try to get the players up and say, hey, we're only freaking down one goal. Let's go. I've not seen that. The other thread that I see is you got to come to a point, Graham Potter, where you settle down and you start to play guys consistently. I get that we're right up against the World Cup. I totally understand that. But you're going to have to get us out of this tailspin that we're in by looking at guys and saying, I am trusting you to go out there on a weekly basis, game after game, to establish yourself and stop this roulette wheel of trying to figure out players. You've had time to figure it out. Let's go. We know who we have on our squad. We know who we have. You are hired as the manager to make sure that you can put all of those pieces together. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And maybe I'm just pissed off, but I am so frustrated with this team because you've said it in the past few weeks or past few times we've talked, and I'm right there with you. This team has talent. And I'm like, why in the hell aren't we able to put it together? I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Evan had thoughts there, folks. I think you've hit a lot of it on the head. The reality is that they've not looked good even in games where they've won. They really gave up a truly stupid goal in the first 5 minutes against Dinamo Zagreb.
Yeah.
In that Champions League match, and really could have been down 2 a few minutes later. Now they did get themselves back in a game and eventually won 2-1 because they're a superior team. But that Arsenal match and that City match, aside from a few opportunities, just got outplayed in every aspect of the game. I can't think of anybody who really covered themselves, in a bit of glory, who, you could say, hey, despite how Chelsea played, we got a lot out of this guy or something like that. Yeah, Mendy made some nice saves, but take it from me, when the most special thing you're talking about after a match is the save David De Gea made, that tells you what went on in the match, right? Yes. So I really feel like what I had to say, my early season discussion about him and predictions are unfortunately, but they're correct. I mean, you've aged out some guys that you didn't find replacements for. You've got injuries in key positions that you don't have depth at. And, Boehly decided to come in and change things up. That's fine. It's his team. And there are arguments to be made for getting rid of Thomas Tuchel. And I think Graham Potter is a fine manager. But
is this too much for him? Do you think this is too much for him?
We will find out over the course of if he lasts the season. Okay. But I think this transfer window is going to be very important because not only do you need certain players to do things that you don't have players for right now, you need to get rid of some guys. There are some guys walking around right now that they may not be a locker room cancer like we've got going on and have had it going on for the last couple of years, but you can tell they don't care. You can tell they don't want to be there. You can tell that they don't give to the level that they have, and it doesn't bother them to not do it. And it's just as important to get rid of certain players as it is to bring in a certain kind of talent. Yeah. I mean, you've got an aging defense, and because of injuries, you now have to play Cesar Azpilicueta on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You now have to rely on Cucurella, at least for a little bit, to be your full-time left back.
He was sick last match, so I hope he's
feeling
better.
But I mean, he's not going to the World Cup, so I don't think he is. So he's somebody who can get a little bit of rest, and Potter can work with and say, here's what an expectation is. But the reality is, you've got 4 or 5 guys in Mount, Pulisic, Havertz, and Ziyech that really all do the same thing and not really distinguishedly from one another. I would say on form, Mason Mount is the best of those 4. I think Christian Pulisic has the most upside. I think his potential and what he can do is the most impressive. But I think Havertz wanted to leave before this season and probably really wants to go now. Ziyech some days is magic and then other days is not. I think both those guys would do well for a move, probably back to Germany. I like Raheem Sterling, and I think he's a good buy, but he can't be the guy you're relying on for all your goals. And we've already seen what Aubameyang does when he gets kind of pissy. So there are a lot of players that need to probably get moved on quickly. And then Potter needs to identify some young guys that he can count on. He needs to see if Conor Gallagher can carry the load for him in midfield. But Jorginho, Kovacic, you just go down that list, Evan, and they are good players. There's no question, but they're not a good team right now. And when it's the case like that, I don't think this team has it in them to gel. I think Potter needs to figure something else out.
Sure. I think that once again, let's talk about the big three, right? James, Chilwell, Conte. Like if those three are healthy and are playing, I'm not sure we don't at least tie Arsenal at home. Because
I was going to say you're less likely to give up a goal.
Right.
Yeah, you're less likely to give up a goal with those guys on the field, but the problem still remains if you have all three of those guys on the field, you create more opportunities, I think, but it's still the same guys on the end of them. Yeah.
Who's going to put it in the back of the net? So I think that we are a better team with those three. I think that we're a team that can compete. I think we still lose that Man City match. I think we look better. I think we draw or win that Newcastle match even away, just with those three, because of the creation that they can do not only in the midfield but also on the wings. I think that eventually some of those balls will go in, or players like James just says, "Hey, I'll just take it myself," and he'll just score it. So yes, it's almost like the perfect storm has hit Chelsea. The injury bug has hit, which, quite frankly, you have to prepare for. You got to prepare for that. Yeah, there you go. You got to prepare for it. But then also, we need a number 9. We need a 9, man. We've got to have somebody to score goals. And right now, we don't have it. And that's why I said I love Pulisic. I love Captain America. But if you're not going to be able to feature him and allow him to grow as a number 9, I say send him somewhere where he can. And then let's use that money to really go after somebody that can make a difference.
Well, Pulisic is not a number 9, and no one should be expecting him to turn into that. And I hope that's not what Graham Potter is trying to impress upon people, because that's just not the case. You can platoon goals, and he can maybe be a false 9 at times, but if you're actually expecting him to lead your line, then that's crazy. Now, I can say this. I know a tall, strapping Portuguese man who might need some employment after the first of the year, if you'd like to take him.
Music, my friend, hit it. Come on, let's transition. Let's hear it.
It was nice that the field side mics picked that chant up this weekend, as United were what appeared to be playing out a draw to Fulham this weekend, but the new Wonder Boy popped up yet again. They were 9 unbeaten, but similarly to you guys, I would say even in some successes, not always looking in full control of the game, but feeling a lot better about performances, and that result away to Villa, I think it was eye-opening for a lot of reasons, and I think it really reinforced how United need to play, which personnel need to be on the field for them to be as successful as possible. Yep. And kind of, I think shook the team a little bit, like, oh, okay, yeah, we were doing this, but there will be setbacks. How do they recover? And they recovered by turning around. And the first half, I don't think it was quite as dire as the pundits make it seem, but there weren't opportunities on goal. But I mean, United were largely in control of the match if they weren't doing much with it. That second half, 6 goals. I think we got 4 goals inside of 20 minutes, so it was pretty exciting. And this Garnacho kid is the real deal, and
real, man.
That this is what you got to do at United. You get your opportunity, you got to take it, and we've got a new young kid on the left. He's what Jadon Sancho is supposed to be. He's what Anthony does sometimes. He gets the ball, and he's got an arrogance about him, and he wants to beat you. And then he can pick a pass or a shot at the end of it. And I think maybe there are some other players at the club that might be getting a little jealous of that right now.
Yeah, man. I tell you, this is a club that is beginning. You were talking about Chelsea. This is a club that Chelsea is a club that just is not gelling, and it does not look like they have the components to even start gelling right now. Man U is coming together, and they look formidable. That Fulham match, and I want to focus on that Fulham match because they very easily could have just been like, okay, they didn't. I mean,
right.
And I think that says something about not only the character of the team, but also the character of the manager. I think that Ten Hag has asked them and now demanded them to play their guts out for 90 plus minutes. Give me everything you got, and I guarantee you the results will come. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Manchester United right now, man.
Yeah. You can see before the injury, Varane and Martinez were really getting a good partnership. Lindelof and Martinez, basically anybody paired with Martinez seems to do well because the guy's he's the butcher. He's really, really taken to this level of competition. I think he really enjoys it, and it just suits him. Malacia has had his ups and downs, but we see that when there's competition, you get a much better version of Luke Shaw. Diogo Dalot is playing at a level that we've not really seen him play until about the last year or so, mainly in Portugal. We now have options in the midfield. We're no longer relying on McFred to do things that are maybe just outside their abilities, but Fred alongside Casemiro, McTominay alongside Casemiro, Eriksen alongside Casemiro. Think of the different options all of that gives you, and then that allows Bruno to push further forward into the attack, and we see how effective that is. You've got a rejuvenated Rashford, a rejuvenated Martial, this Garnacho kid, and hopefully that motivates Sancho. Elanga has played all right. Antony's obviously really done well. So I think it just kind of even reinforces the fact that we've not even said his name yet.
Well, that's where I was going next.
I mean, this team's better without him.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, how much of a factor without him? I mean, we've talked about this. We talked about this last season and into this season. I can't imagine how freeing that must be for Bruno, for Rashi, for those guys to be like, okay, look, we don't have to deal with the noise. And we can play ball the way we want to play ball. And it's like, it's got to have some freeing type of feeling for those guys. And you can see it in their play.
Well, I think it's got to make you feel good. In a perfect world, here's what would be going on. Manchester United would be playing this well and, looking better, gelling as a team and creating opportunities. And then when the chips were down and you really, really needed something, you would have a guy like Ronaldo, an aging yet still dangerous player coming off the bench, using what the skills he has against tired legs at the end of a match and scoring winners or setting up winners and causing problems. Yeah. That's what we should be talking about, because if he were more mature, and I hate to say it, a better professional, and that's something that you could always say about him for the longest time was he was a true professional. The guy worked hard. He did his work off the field by himself in addition to just playing the game. And all of this now smacks of a guy trying to hang on. He's turning into Brett Favre.
Oh, no, that's a really good comparison.
Minus the tax fraud.
Right. Well,
although ask the Spanish, I guess he was in trouble.
Yeah, I was like, hey, wait a minute, not too fast. What is the switch, do you think, that has to switch in a good player's head? Like, once again, I'm going to make the comparison. You have an Olivier Giroud who's like, look, I get my job now. I'm the super sub. I come off the bench, use my golden foot, and I score goals. What is the switch in a player's head that has to switch? Because you can't tell me. I'm sorry, I'm not even a Man U fan, but Cristiano Ronaldo, in my opinion, yes, if you want to talk about him and Messi, that's fine. But he is one of the greatest players to ever set foot on the pitch. And you mean to tell me that his intelligence, whenever it comes to the actual science of sports and how to be a good teammate, you can't tell me that he doesn't have the intelligence to be able to grasp that, to grasp that concept. Has it been presented to him? Are people scared to say, hey, Cristiano, this is what you need to do?
I have to believe that Eric Ten Hag has sat him down and said, this is exactly how I plan to use you. And the only way that you could say there's any sort of disrespect there is if Ten Hag has made promises about minutes and things like that, and he's just not keeping that. That, no matter what, Ronaldo, but that still isn't the issue. I think the main problem right now is Cristiano's ego will not let him say it's time to be the guy that comes off the bench. And that's got to be difficult. I'd love to have a conversation with a guy like Ryan Giggs or, a Vince Carter, Ray Allen, guys who prolonged their career by recognizing that they couldn't do some of the things they used to be able to do, but they still had effectiveness. They were able to develop and change their game and contribute in other ways. Even toward the end of his career, Shaq would come off the bench and he did Shaq things, but he also had to learn how to do other things. He wasn't getting up and down the court the same way. So I think it would be interesting to have a discussion or read up on, what it took for those people, because, Kobe just decided to walk away from the game. Kobe was not going to be that guy. And I think that might be the issue. I think Cristiano he's only got a few options left now, right? Yeah. At this point, no big club is coming in for him. We already saw that during the summer. It's just not going to happen.
It's not Chelsea Blues fans. It is not Chelsea.
It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, because you'll be beholden to him as well, and it'll just be a problem. So it depends on what he cares about. If he wants to go make a bunch of money and not have to work very hard, he can go to Saudi Arabia or China or something like that. If he wants a little bit of competitiveness and to raise his brand recognition, he'd probably come to MLS.
That's what I was going to ask.
I think he'd find it very disappointing.
I was going to say, would you ever see him in MLS? And if you did, would Miami?
I thought I could see him there a couple years ago, and I'm just not sure about it. I think much like Kobe, their intensity won't allow them to be that kind of player. He just, it's not in his DNA. And if that's the case, then you have to be smart enough to say, you know what, it's time to walk away from this game.
Okay. All right. Well,
but he'll never be in a Manchester United jersey again, I don't think.
Man, that's hit you right where he doesn't want you to hit you. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to halftime. And if you are not familiar with our halftime show, it is very much a show to where we have halftime shots, and we dedicate our shot to a certain person or cause or place, whatever. Aaron, why don't you go first, man? What are you thinking this week? What is your halftime shot?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to a group of people who, they've probably not gotten the recognition that they deserve, and it was good to see. Many teams, U.S. men's national team did it today as well, and that was to honor and recognize the workers, the workers that are still alive in Qatar, and show them a bit of love. They joined the U.S. men's national team for practice and played small games today, and I think exchanged some gifts and things of that nature. So. My shot goes out to those folks. We've talked about it before, and I don't want to belabor the point. It's a disaster that the World Cup is in Qatar, but the reality is the World Cup is in Qatar, and the least we can do is honor those folks, and hopefully, by shining a light on them, make it easier for them to get paid, get their passports back, maybe go back home, or maybe it'll allow them to go elsewhere in the world, and take their experience of building stadiums and dealing with an authoritarian government and stuff, and help spread the word, and do other great things in and around the game. So my shot goes out to all those folks, and especially the people who tragically have lost their lives, to bring us $1 billion sporting event.
Yeah. Along the same lines, I want to salute the U.S. men's national team.
Yes.
They have made the decision to wear the rainbow crest everywhere except.
Well done, lads.
I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Yes, absolutely. Well done, lads. We salute you, and to all our LGBTQ plus peoples out there, we love you.
Damn right.
And that was quality, guys. That was just a classy thing to do. So
very much.
Sláinte. Woo. Hit that glorious chant, my friend.
Where is it?
Oh no. Do you want me to cue up the
That's not it, is it? We need an intern, damn it. Need an intern. It's just too much. Yeah, too many buttons and only one screen, man.
Oh, man. Okay, my friend. Here we go. We are talking World Cup, Qatar 2022. What do you think about, first of all, the squad, the U.S. men's national team squad? What do you think, man? I got two questions. Overall strength of the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, how far do you think they can go? And then number two, snubs. Who are some of the snubs that you're like, WTF, Greg Berhalter?
Well, I think to answer the first question, I got to answer the second question first.
Okay.
So it was a little surprising that Zach Steffen didn't go. Zach Steffen was, a mainstay throughout qualifying, was really the guy that Berhalter turned to until very late on, when it really became Matt Turner's term, through, a variety of reasons too. I don't think Zach Steffen was going to start. And I was listening to one of Tony Meola's shows the other day, and they were having a discussion about how, perhaps knowing he wasn't going to be number one and maybe even be number three, maybe they had a discussion and it was decided it's best to leave him off for now, that, he's not going to accept that very well. And they talked, very openly about how, Casey Keller did not do well with not being made the outright number one. And he that caused issues with the team at the time. And Friedel offered certain things. Keller offered certain things. Tony was firmly the third choice, but he knew, the managers at the time and what the expectation was. So he accepted it. He had his time and he understood. So I don't think the U.S. men's national team is weaker to not have Zach Steffen there, because I don't believe he was going to play. So into the defense, I'm glad to see Tim Ream back. I still don't understand why John Brooks hasn't been in the picture for quite some time, but he hasn't been. So there weren't really too many shocks, especially knowing that Robinson's got the long-term injury, so he wasn't even going to be able to call up. Shaq Moore, I guess, is maybe a bit of a surprise, but I like what I see. Cameron Carter-Vickers has played well for Celtic. It'd be interesting to see how much time he gets because it's a lot.
Such experience. I mean, you got these young guys. I think.
Yeah, even if he's not gonna give you a ton of minutes, his experience goes a long way. In the midfield, I mean, Acosta has always been around the Berhalter squad. I don't think that's a surprise. Luca Della Torre is maybe a surprise. But beyond that, I mean, some people are going to complain about Christian Roldan, but I mean, he's been playing well. I think it's up front where people are going to have the most to say. Jesus Ferreira, Ricardo Pepi, all this discussion. I mean, nobody distinguished themselves. Nobody said, I'm the guy. And therefore, you've got to go back to what you know. And, Josh Sargent has been scoring goals. So he gets to go. Jordan Morris is probably not going to get a lot of minutes, but you know exactly what you get out of him. And if you need high press, he's going to give you that energy. Haji Wright is probably a little bit of a surprise, but again, the discussion has been around these guys. It's about relationships and who plays well together. And you've got Pulisic and these other players that have come through with Haji. So, they're going to G him up. I think the relative strength of the squad is good. I think they should get out of the group.
Okay.
How they finish in the group is really going to be the decider after that, because let's just share.
Well, while you're sharing, can I throw one more name out there? Jordan.
Go for
Levi.
It
That
is
was shocking to me. I mean, he's playing well right now.
It is absolutely worth asking the question, for sure. But again, he didn't do it for the United States. Pepe did some things well, and he's playing all right. But I mean, I'm not going to second guess Berhalter when none of those guys said this position's mine. And he's had to make a decision, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to play armchair quarterback until the guys have had a couple games on the field. And even then, it's speculation at best. But what needs to happen is...
You're supposed to play.
All right. I know. But it's this right here that matters the most. If the U.S. can figure out a way to win this group, then they're looking at playing most likely Ecuador or Senegal. And hey, great if Qatar gets through. That's fine. You don't want to run into a Netherlands team that has been building momentum. And if you finish second, that's what's going to happen. You get this right here. So, right. And while we're here, I've got no changes in Group A and B. I'm still.
Yeah, this is where I'm changing.
Okay, see, I think Netherlands are definitely going to win the group. I think Senegal goes. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, my friend. I wanted to kind of be friendly with the home nation, but I do not see Qatar beating Senegal. I don't know why. Maybe I drank too much that night.
I think you were. I think it's always hopeful. Well, you want the home nation to get out of the group. It does make a difference, and yes. I saw what happened in South Africa when they didn't. There was a lot of energy, in the cities, and then once they weren't in it, they were still excited to be hosting an event, but
right.
The air gets sucked out of the room. So if Qatar could advance, that'd be great. I mean, they're largely, foreign-based players. They've got a lot of guys who are North African, sure. that have taken up citizenship and things like that. But it would still be, from a small soccer nation standpoint, a cool thing. But that begs the question: if they've played that well, then do you actually want to run into the home team? But I'm sure England would love it.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, I'm obviously we're not changing, but I would say that that's my weak link. I believe.
Hmm.
I think the rest of our stuff is pretty solid. Although you said that you were like, there were some
Yeah.
that you were looking at that maybe you might be wavering on.
Yeah. I on form right now. I think Denmark tops
Oh,
this group and France finishes
oh,
second. I don't think Australia and Tunisia are really going to challenge much, but it's going to come down to who wins this match, I think. And, Denmark's had their number the last couple of times.
yeah.
And then Germany, Japan, I think Spain is probably going to go through. I think the game outside of Germany and Spain, it's going to matter. How does Japan match up against somebody? Does Costa Rica cause problems in other matches? You know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure.
But I think it's probably Germany, Spain. I have
Okay.
Japan now in third. I'm sticking with Belgium, Croatia,
Yeah,
and
I've got Morocco, and I'm sticking with that because I do like I do like the fact
mhm,
that Hakim Ziyech is going to be
mhm.
playing
He's
for
got
Denmark.
something to prove. He'll have a chip on his shoulder for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm happy with that.
And then I think probably Switzerland will edge out Serbia here. I
Yeah.
think I was high on Serbia at the time because of how they'd played in
Hey,
the qualifiers,
Where can I get some
right?
Serbia to get high on?
Right,
I'm just
right.
saying. Anyway,
Bath salts. And then I got question marks here. I actually
I
think
do too.
South Korea is going to top this group,
Oh,
and
oh,
I do. I think South Korea is going to top this group, and I think there's going to be a question mark between. I think it's down to Portugal, Uruguay, and
oh my.
I don't. I'm. I think there's a question mark as to whether or not Ronaldo is going to be a distraction to the Portuguese national team. Because again, Bruno plays better with him not around, and maybe I certainly don't see the Portuguese manager all of a sudden taking Ronaldo out of the lineup. But if they struggle in their first two matches, maybe you say, you know what, we're going to go with the youngsters.
Wow. Man, I'm happy with my Portugal pick, but I think Uruguay
Yeah,
will finish second. Um, once again, I think South Korea or Uruguay. I don't know, something, maybe Suarez will bite somebody. I don't know. Who knows?
I the you look at that roster and it's definitely the last hurrah for a certain generation of players. I mean,
Sure,
this is it for Suarez and
Super.
Cavani
Yep.
and oh god, I'm spacing on the defender's name, but that there's a generation coming in to an end here,
Yes.
which you could say is true for a lot of these teams. But Uruguay, Darwin Nunez has not yet set himself on a par with Cavani and
Sure.
Suarez, and obviously that's their longevity, but he hasn't demonstrated their abilities just quite yet, and he may
Right.
still. But if Uruguay is going to go anywhere, it's going to be on the backs of Suarez and Cavani finding some form and getting on a run. An homage to Diego Forlan kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
but I look at this and I see a wide open tournament. There are definitely teams that are favorites here, but here's what's fun: we could get this Argentina Brazil semifinal.
Yes.
That'd be something to see because I think they're both going to win their groups, so that puts them into a situation. We could get a Belgium England semifinal. That could be fun.
So
And yeah,
here's what I've got, buddy. Okay. So I've got an England Argentina semifinal and a Spain Portugal semifinal. Like, after I've thought about it, um, I think that in the finals, check this out. I am hoping for a Portugal Argentina final. The world deserves a Portugal Argentina final, with Argentina winning the World Cup, my friend.
I just quickly ran through the bracket again, and I'm not making changes. I have Brazil beating Belgium in the final.
Oh man, that's so good. I think that there's so many combinations here. I
Mm.
The only reason why I want to see it is obviously Messi, Ronaldo. I want to see. I
Absolutely.
want to want to see it. I mean, to on that stage.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would
Yeah.
be awesome. But
if you want to play along, folks, go to FIFA.com. They've got a bracket predictor. I'm sure there are other ones, but it's actually pretty good. It's really fun and easy to fill out. You just click on the team, put them in order, and then it sets the bracket up for you. It's really kind of nice. It's a whole lot better than ESPN's bracket, I can tell you that.
Go to our Facebook page because I believe, Aaron, you threw a
Yes,
link there, right?
I did. I did put it out there, and we can see how well everybody is doing. Maybe start a little group. And get something going. We got a few days, so
November
yeah.
21st, we are playing Wales at 2. November 25th, we are playing England at 2, and November 29th, we are playing Iran at 2. All of those are at 2:00 start times. I believe on the 21st, we are going to try and be at Chatham Butler. Yes.
Yep.
The 25th, you better believe we are going to be
Chatham Tap Fishers. Yeah.
Fishers. The 29th, who knows where we're going to be.
I will be at Chatham Tap Fishers as well.
All right, well, there you go. There you go. So
I can tell you, we'll be doing some spots. We'll be doing some back and forths, some pregame, some midgame, some slurry postgame, I'm sure. And tune in for all of it. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, depending on whatever platform. And if it's a poke or use your finger or like smack us, I don't know, whatever.
It's not that kind of show, man. Jeez, what are you doing?
What is it on OnlyFans?
No, I'm just kidding.
Is OnlyFans an ass slap?
Oh,
give it an ass slap on OnlyFans.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming into No, I had to stop it. I saw what you were doing. We are now coming into the last part of our show, ladies and gentlemen, the Hey Aaron segment. And I've got a good one for you, my friend. I've got a really good one for you. And I am going to list this is World Cup stuff. And these are World Cup cocktails. World Cup cocktails, my friend, and you are going to have to name the country.
Oh, I like it.
Yes. So, obviously we don't have time to do all of the countries, so I'll hit some highlights. How's that, my friend? All right, here we go. A Fernet and Coke, a riff on a highball. This signature drink combines bitter Fernet Branca and Coca-Cola. Fernet Branca is often consumed as a digestif or as a shot, but pairs well here with sweet cola.
Fernet Branca is nice. It's kind of a classied up Jägermeister.
Oh, really?
But I'm going to say this is a Belgian cocktail.
Oh, Argentina, my friend. Argentina.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Did not go that route.
Good call. I see how you went Belgium on that. So next one, the Genever, the forefather of gin. This blank Genever, because it actually says the country, lies somewhere between a London Dry and a Lowland Scotch.
I have.
You've got. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I've had it. It's Genever. The Dutch will definitely let you know about it. It's juniper flavoring, and it comes in two distinct classes. It's old or new, or old or young, I believe is how they make the distinction. And I found it to be kind of halfway between the sort of smoky, whiskey-ish kind of thing and a gin or tequila kind of finish because of the flavor of it. It's really quite good, and you can get quite popped. But yes, this is from the Netherlands.
There you go, my friend. Well done. This next one is one of my favorite drinks of all time. I had this because I had a neighbor from this country. It is the Caipirinha. Though the ingredients are very similar to a classic daiquiri, the Caipirinha is this country's national drink. Made using cachaça, it has an entirely different flavor profile. This spirit is made from cane juice as opposed to traditional molasses.
They are delicious. And if you'd known me in 2014, Evan, you would have gotten very, very popped at my house during the Brazil World Cup as we honored the host nation by drinking lots of these. For the record, a caipirinha consists of you take simple syrup.
Yes.
And you put it at the bottom of a glass. And then you put a bunch of ice in that glass. And then you fill that up with cachaça and add a little bit of lime. It's pretty much all cachaça.
That's all you do.
They are very. It's a crazy drink. It's very, very good, but it is very alcoholic, and you will.
Yeah, you will find yourself under.
That's why Brazilians are having a good time all the time. Every time you see them.
Next, my friend, rakia. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Rakia is a popular fruit brandy. This is going to give it away. Well, okay, I'm not even going to say it because you're shaking your head. So it's a popular fruit brandy. Normally served neat, this white brandy is made from grapes, plums, or apricots, depending on where you're from. Mm-hmm. Texas-based Dorcol Distillers is one of the first American distillers to sell their version, Kinsman, made with apricots. What?
So I've heard about this because Anthony Bourdain had a guy regularly on his show named Zamir, who's Eastern European. I think he's Ukrainian. But they went out to a club one night and they drank a lot of rakia, and it was a big thing, and it was a big celebration. Ukraine is not in the World Cup, neither is Russia, so the closest I'm going to go is Serbia.
Ooh, Croatia.
Is Croatia. Okay. Hey, my choices were Serbia, Poland, and Croatia.
Exactly, yeah. But you were on the right track, my friend, so I'm going to give you credit for that. Because of
a little credit.
The Bourdain reference, my friend. All right, here you go. This is an easy one.
Never go wrong with a Bourdain reference.
That's right. Pastis and water. Though it's perfectly acceptable to drink a provincial rosé or champagne to toast this team, one of the more popular summertime drinks in this place is pastis and water.
Allez les bleus. Allez les bleus. C'est français.
Yes, my friend. I wonder how that would taste. It says it's a cousin of absinthe.
I've not had it. I've seen it on the shelf, but did not go for it.
Okay, all right. How about this? The, in all capital letters, the. Yeah, no, that's right. The highball. Now its own umbrella term for any spirit mixed with any soda. Highballs are very popular in this country, and just recently. It's a country going through a craft cocktail revolution, not unlike our own. This simple drink is criminally underordered. So, whiskey, club soda, and ice. That's what they like. Any thoughts?
Can you tell me the website that you're reading this from?
Why?
Because the description said, like, going through a craft cocktail renaissance like we are. Yeah. So I want to know if we is the United States. Because if it is, then I won't say the United States.
Yeah, right. Like we are the United States. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm just.
England or Australia? England.
No. Oddly enough, Japan, my friend. Japan.
Oh, okay. I can believe that. Yeah.
It was shocking to me. I was like, really? Couple more. Smirnoff, one of the largest brands, is made in Illinois. Grey Goose is from France. Kettle One is from the Netherlands. Absolute and Svedka are Swedish. Tito's is made in a nondescript building off of 183 right here. This is to give you a hint. In Austin. Whatever your preference, you have to toast the originators of this, which actually has been credited to two countries. One is not in the World Cup, and one actually shot a missile at this
into the other country, Poland.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Poland.
not according to their main news source, in which they mocked Poland for getting hit by a missile.
Why
didn't you get out of the way of it, country?
Yeah, bro.
Just sidestep that shit.
Just move. Come on. Bob and weave, man. Bob and weave. All right. One more. The summertime calls for zippy high acid whites and that's weird. Zippy high acid
whites is what you call a fish show. Especially on the East Coast. Zippy. Yeah.
Zippy high acid whites. And this country has you covered. Enter the gas station and bodega all-star drink called the Vinho Verde. Lightly effervescent and with a mid to high acid content, this wine region from the north of this country produces this solid wine for a great price. It is
Portugal.
Called the Vinho. Oh, damn. Dude, how do you know this stuff, dude? I swear, you need to just ask, the Travel Channel. I'm sorry. You need to ask CNN for Bourdain's job. That's what you need to do.
I would love to have Bourdain's job. I don't have anywhere near his charisma, but I would absolutely love to have been even just a crew member and take his shit for a while. Been around him.
What a dude, man. What a dude.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, for going around the world with Aaron, talking about craft cocktail, World Cup cocktails. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up tonight, Aaron, brother, I love this part because I get to hear you, man. What is it that you have for our country? You know what we're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know some of the happenings politically that have happened the last 24, 48 hours. Give us something, man, to hang our hats on this week. What do you got for us? And Aaron's final thoughts.
Well, the last time we were here, I made no bones about it. I said get out there and vote, and we had tremendous turnout for a midterm election, and because of that, and largely because of younger people, what normally happens in the midterms did not quite happen. A first-term president typically sees losses, great losses at times, and definitely Democrats outperformed expectations. There was no red wave. But as I said, previously, the takeaway from this is you could look at it and say we're a supremely divided country, and perhaps that's true. Or you could say we're split right down the middle, and that means there's a lot of room for compromise. There's a lot of believing and overlap. And I would urge everybody to take this opportunity to reset and say, all right, neither one of us got a mandate. Neither one of us have just this overwhelming support for our ideas or our people. So you know what we need to do? We need to get back to the street, get back to the people, and we need to take these opportunities to talk to one another, listen to one another, and see what common ground we can find. It's easy for me to be a smug Democrat at times when you've got such, noxious characters like your Boeberts and your Marjorie Taylor Greens. But there are people on the other side of the aisle that we can reach out to, extend an olive branch to. We need to find this next generation's, John McCain and Joe Biden and Lindsey Graham trio. Yes. For whatever Lindsey's become, John's no longer with us, and Joe's now president. And is looked in a completely different way because of it. But everybody used to go to those three because they were the level heads, and they had history and an understanding of how this, Congress was supposed to work on our behalf, right? And I still have some faith that there are people in each party that can find that common ground, can say, let's hop in a car and drive across the country together and hash out some shit along the way. Yep. And on a larger scale, we have this World Cup coming, and it is the world's game, a beautiful game. And it's an opportunity for us to all look around and say, for all our differences, we're all the same. We want the same things. We want our national team to have a nice run in the World Cup. We want to play a good game. We want to meet other fans. We want to share their love and joy for this sport. that has brought us together. And I think it's a metaphor, it's an opportunity, but you know what? You may have a chance. You'll find yourself in a bar over the next couple of weeks, sitting there and you're talking and you can't help it. Oh, this is going on in Qatar, or this is going on in Iran, or this is going on in England. And you strike up a conversation. And what you got to remember is that's another human being sitting there. And they may have some ideas that you're not on board with. But short of being a straight up Nazi, there's plenty of room for us to find common ground. And it can be simple things. And if you start with it being soccer, and both of you hoping Christian Pulisic scores a game winner in Doha, Qatar a month from now, it's a start.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that first step, if you don't reach out, if you don't say hello, if you don't listen to somebody's words and then calmly, respectfully respond, then we won't get anywhere. But here's our opportunity to hit the reset button, right? We didn't qualify 4 years ago. Here's our chance. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, we're not ranked number one, but everybody's equal before they step onto the field.
That's right.
So everybody, keep that in mind. Make a friend during the World Cup. Make it somebody who doesn't look or sound like you. That'd be even better, wouldn't it? Hell, find somebody who doesn't know anything about the World Cup and bring them into this soccer family. Talk to them. Let them know why it's important. Have a beer with them at the match and sing a song. Put your scarf around their neck and cheer. Yes. And for 90 minutes, lose yourself in this beautiful game. I love you guys. So appreciative of you. Evan said it before. We'll be going to Chatham Butler, Chatham Fishers. There's going to be tons of places around town. I'm going to give a shout out to everybody. Union Jack's going to be having it. Chatham Tap downtown. Pretty much any sports bar worth its salt is going to have these matches on. Maybe not at 5 a.m. or 8 a.m., but the 11 o'clocks and the 2 o'clocks for sure. And as the tournament progresses, those games will be later anyway. So get out there, get out your best red and white and blue, and pretend it's the 4th of July, because we believe.
I believe that we will win. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us at the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat.
We love everybody.
Take care. We love you. We love you. Take care.
Love you too, bud. Take care.